possibly be the issue that we have not tried? I feel like we have tried everything. Um, unless it has to go the other way around. Connecting. Okay, that's a first. Okay, that's a okay.
Finally.
Face. Oh. Okay, thank you everybody on WhatsApp. Thank you. Like it just. Oh. I don't care even if it's frozen. We have liftoff the other way. The other way.
Oh,
Why is yours
I'm scared to even hold the phone because I'm scared it's gonna
okay.
go off and
We're trusting the process. We're trusting the process. There we go. Unjani uThixo? Unjani uThixo? Ayisuka man. Jonga.
oh my word, what a struggle this has been.
My goodness. My goodness. Whew.
Wait, apps to charge
Yeah.
now because I'm in a new environment, so I need
You
somewhere
need,
where my
we will give you a second to connect. I'm just going to catch my breath. Woo!
Sure. Wow. Okay, I've got my charger plugged in, so my husband is just gonna bring an extension cord, so I'm good.
Okay, that's
Hi
cool.
guys, sorry for keeping you waiting, guys.
7%. I think I also am good. You, Lucy. Wow. Okay, I'm not gonna touch anything. I'm not touching anything. How are you? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Apart from this rush that has happened, I'm good. I'm really good.
Wow.
Earlier on, I was at I don't even know what to call that guy, whether he was an acquaintance or a friend, but if he was a friend, he was a friend. But if he was an acquaintance, he was a very close acquaintance of mine who passed away tragically in a car accident. So earlier on, I was at his memorial. So now I'm here.
And let me just say, listen, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for honoring this appointment. Thank you for running around. I mean, you could be in bed right now just trying to catch your breath and just, be present there. But, here you are. I want to say we honor you, we appreciate you, and thank you so much. I know that things
Thank you for having me. I'm trusting God to make them shake.
I am trusting God to make them shake because I was just thinking earlier, do you know when something feels bigger than you?
Yeah.
So that's what's been happening. So I'm looking forward to unlearning some things. I'm looking forward to just taking some things off. I'm looking forward to making space. I have been preparing and making space for everything that is about to happen, which I do not know. But we are trusting God. I'm trusting God. And so thank you very much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here, guys. I really am.
Yeah. Okay, so for those who do not know Zodwa, I don't know which rock you live under. Zodwa Gqwaka is a coach, a phenomenal coach, business and personal development. She is a speaker. She is soon to be an author. I see some books coming over. And apart from the many hats, a mother, a wife, a wonderful wife to this man. I owe the both of you so much. But there's a lot about Zodwa that we are going to unpack in today's first season 2 episode of Lighthouse Conversation. We welcome all. I even did the intro. I think we're gonna have to do this one. We're gonna have to greet everybody when you do it. Please do it. The jingle that we all love. You're gonna have to do it. Okay. So
let's do it.
Yeah. I usually have two questions that I ask my guests to introduce themselves. And then
Okay.
from there it just goes deeper quickly. I don't know. It just, so do you want to say hello to everybody and then we can get to the question? I'm breathing. I'm breathing. I am breathing. It's okay. We have you
My
back.
network, my network, I don't know what's happening now, but I'm
Yeah,
back
probably
now.
because you moved the other side. No, that's cool. I mean, these things happen. If we get a glitch, we will wait until we connect again.
Sure.
Otherwise, I don't think there's more we can do from this point on. So you can say a quick hello, and then we will get to the first introductory questions that I will ask you.
So I'm gonna do the hello the way that you want me to do it with the jingle. It's hello everybody, hello everybody, hello, 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 hello everybody, hello everybody, hello everybody, hello, 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 hello everybody.
Yes! Wow! I love your jingle. So thank you very much. It just shifts the energy, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's happy, it's happy.
thank you so much. So Uzodwa, um, the questions are, who is Zodwa Gqwaka and what do you stand for?
Zodwa Gqwaka is a human developer. She is a born again Christian. She is passionate about development. She's passionate about purpose. She is passionate about prosperity. She is also a mother and a wife. Um, yeah, she's a sent one for this time and for this age to the people that she's been sent to develop in as many ways as she is inspired and feels led. That's who she is. And what was the second question?
Oh, hey, so deep, so quickly. And I think you did touch on it, but I want it coming out of your mouth. What do you stand for?
Okay. I stand for purpose. I stand for, so my values are deeply rooted in Christ. I stand for purpose in Christ. I stand for defying fear.
Mm.
I'm a huge believer in defying fear. I stand for emptying yourself out while you're on earth. I stand for, yeah, living purposefully in a nutshell, being led by Christ.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. It always, like I said, with those two opening questions, um, it just sets a tone and a mood and an atmosphere for the conversation. And so jumping right in, I love your introduction of yourself where you said you are the sent one. I mean,
Yeah.
is something so big and I suppose there's a great privilege and honor in just that statement alone. But you say it without even flinching, without
No.
giving, thinking about it. You didn't even do the whole body language look away things, meaning it is embedded in who you are. Could you maybe
Yeah.
take us back to tell us a little bit about yourself, your upbringing, to get to the point where you were able to access those words? Maybe the first time you heard them, maybe the first time you believed them, that you are the sent one.
Yeah. Well, I think a huge, not I think, I know a huge portion of who I am today and how I think today has been built and shaped by the teachings that I receive Sunday in, Sunday out at church with Apostle Neil Isaacs, right? My apostle is very, he's very purpose driven. He's very He's very he he wants to dig deep out of people. He wants people to live on a deeper realm rather than what the earthly environment presents. He doesn't want us to be confined within the 9 to 5. Not to say there's anything wrong with the 9 to 5, but he doesn't want us to stop there. He wants us to investigate purpose even further. He wants us to be able to make maximum impact, and usually maximum impact is made and done through living out purposefully. So I was born and raised in Queenstown. I was raised by a single mother with the help of my grandmother. My mother was struggling with alcohol, what do you call it, alcohol. She drank a lot, and that affected me so much. But another thing that it did, it brought me close to God, because then God became my refuge. God became my safe place. He became my hiding place. So when I was growing up, you would always find me in church. And at that time, it wasn't necessarily because I was on fire and I loved Jesus, even though I did. But the primary reason at that time, as I was going to hide there, I was searching for a hiding place. I was searching for a place of peace, for a place of joy, and I found it in church. So I've always found church to be a safe haven for me, naturally and spiritually, because there were always people who would make you laugh, people who would just make you forget your problems. And it was great that these people had shared the same values and belief system with you. And my mother passed away. My grandmother, passed away when I was 15. And then my eldest sister said, no, you're not staying here. You can't stay here, because obviously anything, you could fall pregnant, you could end up drinking, because you're living with our mom who struggles from alcohol.
So you would have to be the parent, basically, and grow up.
Yeah. So she took me in. She lives in Ireland. She and her husband bought me a ticket. Off I went to Ireland, and I lived there for 5 years. That place really shaped my work ethic. It really shaped my thinking. I know that was the plan of God for my life, for me to go there, because there are parts of who I am that have been built and shaped by that experience. And then I came back when I was 21, because my mother was very sickly. Came back when I was 21 to spend time with her. And when I was 22, she passed away. So we spent a year together after being apart for 4 or 5 years, and she passed away. And at that point in time, when I was 22, I really didn't have an idea of, my mother would always ask, Zodwa, I didn't have a degree at that time. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any promising prospects as to what's going to come out of my life. She would always ask me, Zodwa, what is going to become of your life? What are you doing with your life? And I would just always casually respond that I'm going to write books and be famous.
Yes. Just chill, write books. It's that easy. It is that simple.
So and that always unsettled her. I don't know if she can see what's happening now and what kind of woman that I've grown to become, but I think she'd be very proud. And like I'm saying, even when I came back from Ireland, I went back to my old church, and I was just programmed Sunday in, Sunday out, but there's more to life than just the usual routine. There's more to life than the status quo. You were born for a specific purpose. Now, when that is preached to you Sunday in, Sunday out, Sunday in, Sunday, it awakens certain things in you. And it awakened a lot in me. It awakened a desire, it awakened a curiosity. And it spoke to, I think, a hunger that I had within me. That was deep down.
But you didn't even
because
know
you find that
you had.
You find that maybe the same message could be preached to 100 different people, but the reactions are not the same. So I think it spoke to something that was already embedded in me, and that thing just kept being awakened and awakened and awakened to the point where it is today. And
Mm-hmm.
I am who I am today. That's how I think, how I.
Okay, there you're back. There you're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that is so many, as Oprah would say, tweetable moments. But listen, I love how your journey is like my journey, like the girls next door's journey, like the girl across the street's journey. We have these
Yeah.
different experiences, though sometimes when we look at it in the moment, it's like so and so one looks better. Why am I suffering the most? Um, but then what I love about what you're saying is that that drilling in of that information from church, from that word, from the messages that you heard that we received differently, that it created an anchor. That's what I think of when I hear that it created an anchor in a belief of who you are, not what society sees you as, not what your circumstance sees you as, but that pulling off to your soul that you can't even recognize as a child, and you are just still learning about yourself. That is just identity, the purest form of your identity, connecting to who you are, because you haven't lost that. You just didn't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels, yes. And a friend of mine was saying the other day that returning to yourself is basically like just being a kid again. Just all the things
Yeah.
that you loved, all
Yeah.
the things that you connected with, it is just being that. But I find it sometimes so difficult to reconcile that, because we in society, we are grown ups must, act a certain way, and children must act a certain way. You can't be bouncing around and playing when you are reaching for millions. um but somehow you seem unshaken. Am I correct in that assumption, that you seem to know about yourself truly? And I wonder how you reached there, that state of knowing who you are and standing in who you are, regardless of where you came
I think one thing that's really helped me is the Holy Spirit. And he has taught me so much. He really has. He's given me insights that I'm not even qualified to have. I mean, he's given me insights on different fields in business. He's given me insights on psychology and how the mind works. I have I have felt and heard theories in my spirit that people are saying they learned about in when they were doing their honors. Now, mind you, I don't have a degree.
from.
I have had revelation, and this other much older lady was at my connecting the dots seminar, and she was saying, Zodwa, the things that you are talking about, we learn in university. The things that some of the things that you were saying, we learned about in second year in honors, and you are saying these things just casually. And I can't say I studied those things. I felt them in my spirit.
Mm.
God explained them to me, and then I delivered them. So the Holy Spirit has been a huge help in how I think and how I've gotten to this place of knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt. And obviously, I've listened to a lot of material on purpose, or Miles Monroe, or Jim Rohn, or what do you call this guy, Earl Nightingale, or Bob Proctor. Those are people that I listen to day in and day out. And when you feed yourself a certain kind of substance, you become, if you start taking the shape of that substance. So I've taken in a lot of that substance of knowing who you are and who God has called you to be. And I suppose that, like what I'm saying, I am becoming what I'm consuming. And another thing is that I've come to a place of not maybe we'll go a bit deeper into this a bit later, but I am not defined by anything external. I'm not defined by how much money I have. I'm not defined by how much money I don't have. I'm not defined by the influence I have. I'm not defined by the influence I don't have. I'm not defined by my status as face of Kia Queenstown. None of that defines me. And I think that's given me an advantage, because if I were to allow it to define me, it means that if those things were taken away, because everything I've mentioned is external,
then you fall apart.
If those things were to be taken away, I wouldn't have a grounded idea of my identity and who I am. But because my identity is grounded in who I am truly, not guys, let me just say this. When we were born and we came to earth, we were given a name and a surname so that we can fit into the societal context of earth. If you don't have a name and surname, you don't fit into this earth. Earth has a context, and part of that context is that you have a name, you have a surname, you have an ID number. If you don't have those three things, you are an alien. So we need those things to fit into the context of earth. But a lot of people mistake those things as identity.
Yes.
Your identity is not your name. It's not your surname. It's definitely not how much money you have, how much money you don't have. So my groundedness also comes in knowing who I am before I was born. The Bible says, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. He doesn't mean that he knew my name. He doesn't mean that he knew my bank balance. He doesn't mean that he knew my address and my ID number. He knew the substance of who I am. He knew the core of who I am. And that's how I know myself. At the core of who I am, as a sent one, sent to develop humans as much as I can to bring them to the enlightenment of who they truly are.
So, wow. Wow. So, can you walk us through this? Say now, we hear you, right? And we have this pull of this question of identity. We want to understand it deeper. And yet there are constructs of this society, of this earth that we live in. If you do not do one thing, you don't fit in. If you do not do another thing, you don't fit in. And there are circles that, you know, we believe we want to be in. So the reconciliation sometimes of the identity that we know, we believe ourselves to be, and the one that is the external that, you know, we present to the rest of the world, then gets friction and it clashes, and you find yourself so unhappy. Say I am in that state. What do I do? How do I get out?
I want you to give me a practical example. You mentioned, give me a practical example so that I can have a clearer understanding.
For example, just the titles that we give ourselves on an everyday. Okay, I'm a mother, I'm a partner, all these things that I do, all these functions that I function in on an everyday basis. Somehow I know they tie into my identity and the things I'm supposed to do aligned with my purpose, but there just seems to not be quite a clinch that moves to the next level.
Okay.
So you
feel like,
yeah. Okay. So you constantly feel like you're fighting yourself against yourself to be these parts and at the same time be yourself. Does that make sense?
I think I hear you, and I think my point of departure would be I don't believe that at any given time you have not been pulled to what you're supposed to be doing, regardless of being a mother, regardless of being a partner or a wife or whatever that you are. I don't believe that being those things and functioning in those roles has made you deaf or blind to what you're supposed to be doing. But I do believe that it can be so easy to use those as excuses when we have been too scared to embrace what we feel is calling us. So let me make an example with myself. And we don't always do it intentionally. We just use these safe places as hiding places. You can unconsciously say, but I'm a mom, but I'm a wife, I'm a partner. I don't always have time to. I would love to, but I can't. You want to do it, but you have fears that you are not addressing. You have limiting beliefs that you're not addressing. And sometimes I could be wrong. I mean, it's not a blanket approach for everyone, but what's common is that you use the safest and quickest and most understandable, most reasonable excuse to stop you from fully pursuing. No one is going to ask you questions about anything when you say, but no, I have to look after my kid. No, but I'm a partner. No, but I'm studying. No, but. So we use those as fronts. And those fronts make sense, you know? Like I went to a very intense training program at the beginning of last year, just before COVID happened. And there was just no way I was going to miss out on that program. And my child at that time was December, January, February, March. He was 3.5 months old. Do you know what I did? I took my 3.5 month baby, and I went to the course, to the training. And when I walked in, everyone was like, I did not pay them any attention. I went there and I put my baby quietly, my baby sat in the corner. Anytime he would say, nah, I would just rock him. But I understood that the training was going to get a lot more intense. So I just went to the trainers and I asked, guys, I didn't want to miss this training. I'm sorry that I brought a baby, but I'm a mom. It is the reality of my life. But tomorrow I will make a plan. I will try to find a nanny who is going to sit outside the door while I'm in class. I could have said, I can't attend that training. I could have said, I can't because I've got a baby. I've got a newborn baby. My baby can't meet strangers. So I don't know how far off I am with answering you correctly with what you're saying.
No, you are.
But what I'm presenting is that sometimes it's not even a matter of these two identities clashing, but rather you have some limiting beliefs and fears, and this assists you to keep running away from them. I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like I'm getting a coaching session. Well, I am getting a coaching session. My goodness, that makes so much sense. You know how we always have these quotes in our heads that are floating around, and then at a certain particular moment, you use them all the time, but then there's a time when you have an aha moment and you remember the quote. And the quote that I'm remembering right now is that when you know where you're going and you're focused on where you're going, the world makes space for you. I remember this from I don't know, high school, beginning of high school. And now my question is, there are certain fears that are, like, for example, this fear we're talking about, this limiting belief in oneself, where you say, I'm making excuses because you are afraid of what is. Should you change this, you lose something else. And there are other fears that I don't know how to call, if it is an anxiety or a type of I don't know what type of fear, but to me it feels like it's like an anxiety. Whether it's I'm walking into a meeting, or I'm about to do something that I know scares me, but I'm going to do it anyway. So my question is, how do we gauge where we are, like which fear is crippling when we are doing, say we are dissecting and finding out what is this limiting thing? Am I doing this as an excuse? Am I doing this as fear? Is there a simple method or any method that we can use that identifies these two fears? This one is just, the fear that's not holding you back. Because sometimes we focus on the things that are just
Yeah.
distractions, and we focus so
Yeah.
much on
Yeah.
them, and it's just a distraction. That the real thing is over here. So how do we overcome that and do things fearlessly and through fear and yeah.
Um, Let me just say, doing things fearlessly doesn't mean there's no fear, right? Because maybe someone might be saying that, but I'm always fearful. Yes, fearless means that you confront the fear and you go toe to toe with the fear and you do it anyway. So I hope that nobody watching feels like, but I'm always scared. I'm always scared when I'm about to talk in front of an audience. On Saturday at my church, I am ministering and I am so scared. I'm like so nervous. I'm like, oh, what am I going to say? But when I step up on the podium on Saturday, I'm going to depend on the grace of God to carry me. When I start speaking, that means I have become fearless because I have confronted fear. So it's not to say that you don't feel any kind of anxiety or like, because stage fright is a real thing. I don't know if there are people out there who just don't feel it anymore, but I'm still getting to, if there is a place where you don't feel it anymore, I'm not there yet. I'm still working my way to that place. If there is, some people say nerves are a good thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, to say you're fearless means that you do it scared. Doesn't mean you don't feel any fear at all. And the other thing that you asked was how do you identify these limiting beliefs? How do you identify these things that you're hiding behind? I'm fortunate to have a coach. I'm a business and personal development coach, and I have my own coach who coaches me on a weekly basis. I don't think I personally could have gotten to that place of clarity had I not had her question me to that place of clarity. So that would be my number one recommendation, that if you can afford yourself a coach, do get yourself a coach that you can have, just weekly or fortnightly or monthly meetings according to your own budget to see what are the hindrances that are stopping you from operating at the speed, at the momentum, and with the clarity that you need. Because coaching is not just for people who it's not for any kind of person. It's for a person who wants to get even more clarity. Oprah, as accomplished as she is an advocate for people getting coaches. Tony Robbins is an advocate for people, as successful as people are, for people to get coaches. So that would be my number one recommendation, because coaching just brings you to a place of clarity. It brings you to a place of looking at yourself in the mirror and be like, wow, I'm actually suffering from the imposter syndrome like nothing else can. And the other option that I would really suggest and bring to the table is that just try to be with yourself. Try to zone out, even if it's a day with yourself with no contact on social media. Don't go on social media. Try to find a peaceful and quiet space and try to question yourself and answer as honestly as you possibly can, so that you'd be self-coaching basically, even though you might not have all the techniques of, because coaches get taught how to get stuff out of people. But I think you would get an idea of how to go in the right direction or what you need to deal with. But unfortunately, sometimes people are in so much denial that sometimes even something, especially when it's self-coaching, you might see something that you don't like and you shun it. You're like, it's not that.
Listen, self-coaching is difficult because there are things that we are just, like you're saying, we see them, but we just shut them out because we are protective still of our space, of their things that of our pain, we're still holding on to them. Accountability. You're back now. Yes, be honest with yourself.
Yeah, be honest with yourself and just try to get clarity of why aren't you where you want to be? Why aren't you doing what you want to be doing? What has been a limiting belief? What has been a limiting action? And what decisions? Oh, guys, there's so much that I could tell you. You know, where we are, Zim, is a result of our decisions. Where I am financially, where I am societally, where I am economically, where I am just in every spiritually, it's a result of the decisions that I've taken. And I want everyone listening to personalize that. Where are you financially? Where are you? Where are you socially? Where are you academically? Where are you in all the spiritually, in all the different areas of your life? After you answered where you are, I want you to understand that it is not the government, it is not the economy, it is not corruption, it is not COVID that has landed you there. It is your decisions, right? And the thing about decisions, it has two outcomes. The one outcome is a result, and the other outcome is a consequence. Now, a result is something that you're proud of. It's something that you can show off. It's something that has it's good fruit of a decision that you. Now, a consequence, on the other hand, it is a less desirable result. It is a more painful result. It is a more remorseful result. So whatever that we decide, we must always keep in mind that there are two outcomes, a result and a consequence. And you need to decide well enough to ensure that you will get a result and not a consequence.
So how much do you cost? Because this is ridiculous. Like, wow. Sure.
Sure. You can email me. You can email me.
Yeah, man. We will definitely be leaving your contacts of how everybody can get hold of you, because you know, one of the reasons, I mean, there are many reasons, I asked you for this conversation and to open us on identity. Obviously, me connecting everything that I do with the journey that I'm on. This is basically me facing some of my fears. And so
Yeah.
when I started following you and seeing some of your posts and the things you talked about, there's obviously marketing and you being intentional about the business as a coach, as what you put out there, because you are a builder of people. And then there is Zodwa Gqwaka, you know, the funny, always laughing, always. I don't think I see you serious sometimes, but I can't imagine you like go on. And to me, that is the pure authenticity of, you know, when they say people, when you go for therapy, obviously you try different therapists until you find a fit, right? So now this brings me to the content that you so intentionally it's always thought provoking. It's always trying to get us into spaces. The other day you did a video on this imposter syndrome that we seriously all are suffering from. I realized mine a few years ago, and it almost drove me nuts. It almost drove me nuts. Hence, I started the work on myself and to be at this point. So I want us to break it down a little bit. I will link obviously your information, and then people can go and I know they do follow you and see some of the material that you have. But when you spoke about imposter syndrome and how it hides behind the things that sometimes we don't even know that we have, do you mind breaking that down for us again? I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Let me make an example with my own experience. and how I was hiding in plain sight. So I'm a business and personal development coach, and like a year and a half ago, I can't remember, I created this professional Facebook page that would position me as a coach. And on there, I was supposed to advertise my services, how much I cost, how people can get a hold of me, release different packages and coaching packages and programs that I had created as a coach, and how people can contact me. But what I did on that page is that I just put out motivational, inspirational, and educational content. There's not one post on my page that says hire me. There's not one post that says this is what I can do for you, this is how good I am. It is just motivation, motivation, inspiration, inspiration, education, education, from top to bottom. And that's it. Brilliant content, I must say. I'm not saying that's just because it's mine. It's top tier content, right? And during my coaching call with my coach, I was telling her that I'm struggling to come out boldly in the way that I should to people and say I'm a coach and this is what I do. And she said, why? And there was a lot of, yeah, guys, you know, but she asked me 100. That's what coaching is. It takes you in, it takes you out, it takes you to the valley, to the mountaintop. And eventually I had the realization about the reason I've been scared to come out and say, my name is Zodwa Gqwaka. I'm a personal and business development coach / brand strategist, and this is how I can help you. This is how I can be of value to you. Hire me. Is because I was scared that I wasn't good enough. I was scared that I would say that and people would think that but you're not as good as that one. We're gonna go with that one. I was scared that I would be laughed at, I would be mocked at by people, because Queenstown is not exactly the hub of coaching. I don't know how many other coaches that are practicing in Queenstown. Apart from me, I could be the only one. So I was scared of just being looked at like, what the hell are you doing and what the hell are you saying? But I had no idea that I was doing that. In my head, I was honestly putting out content. It was only through that skilled coaching that I came to realizing, but I'm actually hiding. I'm scared of being rejected. And ever since I've had that realization, I've come out guns blazing. I've created a 4-week coaching program that I'm going to roll out in the month of May. I'm just going to advertise it in April, but I'm going to roll it out in the month of May. I've approached organizations for organizational coaching. It has just brought me to a place of looking at the imposter and saying, let's go toe for toe. I am me, you're the imposter, and I'm believing what the reality of who I am says I am, not who you say I am. I am good enough, and you're telling lies. So it brought me to that place, and I've taken so much ownership of my own decisions and my own immediate success, because I am pissed at the imposter. I am pissed at the time that he's taken. I am pissed at the time that I've lost, but I'm grateful for what I've learned anyway. So yeah, I don't know if I've answered you, because I've even forgotten the question now, because I was just gotten into the.
Listen, yeah, this is why I love this.
Yeah, I was giving you an example of the imposter. So that's how it was for me. I was hiding in plain sight. I was hiding in content. I wasn't supposed to release content only. I was supposed to release content, announce that I'm a coach, sell my packages, sell my programs and products. But I didn't do all of that. I only released content because I was hiding. I was scared of being rejected. I was scared of people not buying. I was scared of people mocking me. So people hide behind different things.
Yeah, that is so true. And you know, as you're talking, what I'm picking out at the end is that once you've made that realization, come face to face with yourself and step up to the fear and say, like you're saying, you do things, it's not without fear, but you go through the fear. So that there's an action that is attached to once you have made that confrontation and you say you are doing something. Because I always find that once there is no doing, then you are back where you started. with other things that
Yeah.
are you know, unraveling in your life and showing themselves as imposters, because now you have seen who you are and what you know, all these things in front of you. And so every other thing again is going to come up and say, you've been an imposter here, you've been an imposter here, you've been an imposter here. And slowly, 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 you are losing your identity because it feels like your whole life has been fake. So if there is no
Doing
action,
actually
once you
is,
find the
yeah,
revelation, go on.
yeah. Doing is actually a major key in overcoming the imposter syndrome, because
Mm.
you see yourself suffering from the imposter syndrome when you don't do everything you want to do, everything you know that you can do, when you don't walk in the purpose that you're supposed to be walking in. So when you don't do, you are feeding the imposter, you're affirming the imposter, you're validating the imposter. You're saying, yes, you're right, I'm not good enough. Yes, you're right, I can't speak in front of crowds. Yes, you're right, I can't write a book. Yes, you're right. You are validating the imposter because it said you can't and you're not. But when you
Yeah.
do, then you are validating the reality of who you are. When you show up as a human builder, as you called me, when you show up as a people builder, when you show up as a human developer, when you show up as a business and personal development coach, when you show up as a brand strategist, then you are doing and affirming the reality of who you are. So doing is very key. I'm just saying that to reiterate, but doing is very key. It's the only way you can beat the imposter, by doing what the imposter says you can't.
Yeah. No, that is perfect. And the person, people usually ask, but how do I do it? Then I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this. We often look at what we don't have instead of the little things that we do have. You want to start an organization, you don't have a venue, you don't have a place to work from, but you do have a house. You do
Yeah.
have, you know, a space for you to work with. You do have connections. You do have friendships. You do have a
Yeah.
mouth to speak and say, this is what
Yes.
I need, or you know, this is what I want to
Yes.
do. And so I do thank you for that. I really, really do thank you for that, because especially now in a time where COVID has shown us how possible everything is. I don't know if you feel that way about how this whole COVID journey has taken you with your business, with everything that you are running in your life. And has there been times where I know you recently closed a business, but has there been times where you find that you you do not have a way out, so to speak? Um, and
Zim, please repeat the question, because it froze and I didn't hear what you said.
oh, sorry, no, that's fine. I was talking about basically when the business you had a business with your husband that you recently closed, and I want to talk a little bit about that loss, because you started something against all odds. You
Yeah.
had this great idea, and it was an idea, and you as a doer, you were like, fine, let's go, let's do it. So you guys did it, and it didn't work, and you had to come to a
Yeah.
point where you say, okay, this is no longer something that we want to put our energies in, and we will, it no longer serves. Coming to
Yeah.
that decision when you have worked so hard, so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, only you can know how hard you have worked.
So hard.
So, so hard. Take us through that. Take us through how you remove yourself from that failure, from how you do not connect your identity to the failing of the business.
Well, let me just say, we closed the company in 2021. The last month of operating was January. So we officially closed our doors on the last day of January. And in February, we were no longer operating. And for us to get to that point took us 2 years. We knew 2 years ago that something is not working here. Something is not, there's, it's not doing
It's not
this.
gelling.
And we were very sentimental about our business because it's our first business, number one. It's our first business. It is, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into it. Just to give you an example, when we first started, we closed at 10 o'clock at night. And sometimes on quiet evenings, we think, maybe calls are finished, and we didn't have children at that time. And then we'd go into bed, and zim, at 10 to 10, we close at 10. 10 to 10, somebody calls, and you have to pick up and pretend you're not sleeping. You're like, hello. And get that time, sleep is so good. It's so nice. You're like, oh, I don't want to go, you know, and we would just put our uniform on and go to the order and just be as fresh as. So there was a lot that we put into the business. But 2 years ago, we had a conversation with our mentor, and he said, guys, if it's not working, can it? And we were like, what do you mean? We can't do that. This is our first business and it's going to succeed. And as we were growing as individuals outside of business, like I'm saying, there's this huge unexplainable pull towards human development, and that's purpose calling. And the louder purpose became, the less difficult it became to let go of delivery chat, because it wasn't fulfilling purpose. It wasn't fulfilling the purpose of now. I believe with all my heart that delivery chat, the way it's ended and the way it's everything is being revealed, it was necessary for a time. There would be no Zodwa Gqwaka as I am now, had there not been a delivery chat.
Yeah.
Delivery chat has introduced us to many great personal and business relationships. It has positioned us extremely well. It has taught us a lot. You can learn a lot from a textbook, but you can learn everything from a failed business.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. As you were, madam.
So, finally, I think when we were just like in full realization of what we want to do, we looked at delivery chat practically now and said, one, is it yielding the financial results that we deserve? That was a no. Two is realizing that it could yield the financial results we wanted to, but it would need our all. It wouldn't need for us to be managing it from far, which is what we were doing. It would need us to be physically on the ground, physically doing the deliveries ourselves. And that was a huge disconnect, because I'm not running around for deliveries when there's an entire generation to be spoken life into.
Whew. Wow.
So yeah, it was a combination of things. It was the fact that it wasn't yielding the financial results that we deserved, and it took more out of us than it gave in, and purpose was just calling, and it wasn't calling that way.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's amazing. Could you speak a little bit, if someone say you have this one business and it is not working, the signs are there. I'm asking because sometimes things are failing, but we fight for them because we've invested so much, because we have sentimental value with it, because it's blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And so, and then to start over means, I have lost something. So could you speak to us in terms of, you had other things going for you that were pulling you, and naturally, being the person that you are, you answer the call. But say this is all I have. Delivery chat is all I have. I haven't had time, or whatever my reason is for not being able to chase other avenues. This was what I was focusing on. I was giving myself 5 to 10 years, and now it is not working out. What do I do? How do I let go and unmarry myself from the failure of the business?
one thing you need to immediately understand is that you're not dead. Therefore, you can always start learning. You're not dead. You know, you're not dead.
Yeah.
So there is hope for, the Bible says there is hope for the living. You're not dead. So there is hope that you can learn a new skill. So start learning a new skill. Start finding out what triggers you, what makes you happy, what really gets you going, and start investing your mind, your time, your money in cultivating that. Water it with knowledge. You know, we love to say that we don't have time, but we do. We just choose how we spend the time. Yes. We have 24 hours. In that 24 hours,
same.
Sometimes you spend it watching TV, sometimes you spend it sleeping, sometimes you spend it chatting with your friends on WhatsApp or being on social media for too long. So you do have the time, my love, but you just prioritize other things. So now I would say to that person, prioritize finding and knowing which avenue you're going to develop next. And be sober about the fact that a business in its simplest sense is a money-making machine.
Yeah.
It is not a sentimental ornament in your heart, in your spirit. It is not anything but a machine to make you money. If it's not making you money, start sobering yourself about the fact that, guys, what we put time into needs to yield results.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't respect ourselves when we put 120% of our time and energy and we're happy with 8% returns. We're not respecting ourselves. And we are not realizing and honoring the value of who we are. Because listen, when you're a doctor, you get paid because you're a doctor. The payment is in honor of the value that you bring. So when you are a business owner and your business is giving you 8%, but you've given it 120, you are not honoring your own value.
Okay.
Especially if you, like, guys, I was at a place where I said, I am brilliant. I am gifted. How can I settle for peanuts like this? How can I settle for stress? How can I settle for uncertainty? How can I settle for all of these things? I understood that's how I went into Delivery Chap in the first place, by understanding value, my own value. I was employed, and I sat on my desk one day and I calculated how much I was earning per day, and I calculated that further to what I was earning an hour. I was like, I can't spend the rest of my life like this. I am creative, I am innovative, I am brilliant. And then I decided to go into business, and really business yielded so much more than what employment was. But the business hit a roof now where I was personally outgrowing what it was giving.
Wow. So sometimes we can personally outgrow the things, just like we can outgrow relationships and businesses. Network is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Yeah, Zodwa Gqwaka. No, that's okay, because you were riffing out at the end of Delivery Chap that you deciding to say you're not yielding the results. I love that, because then that's another step that we need to do when we're talking about finding who you are, your identity, whether you're doing it with self or doing it with a coach, preferably a coach, because there are some things that we are just not ready to dig into, or just too afraid. Somebody will be able to see you and speak these things into you where you if you just doing them. But I mean, I've tried by myself, trying to fix myself, and there are things that I'm just blind spot, and sometimes it just doesn't help, and you go around in circles, in circles. I love it. Um, so Zodwa, we are going to. I really appreciate this conversation. Um, I couldn't have thought of a better person to ask to open this year of Lighthouse Conversation. Are you there? I see a frozen picture. Oh, that's okay. I was just saying that I really appreciate you taking the time and talking to us after everything, after the day you have had, after the connectivity, after you shifted, you moved, you ran to another spot just so we can have this conversation. And I am so honored. I am so happy that we pushed through it. I mean, I could have just in my sketty pants said, okay, it's not working, it's fine, we'll make another time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I am just so grateful for your yes, because sometimes when we do not honor the things that are within us, honoring somebody else's time and somebody else's energy and somebody else's ability to say yes when you ask something is a breakthrough. And I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you so much. This has been a very amazing conversation. And
Yeah.
I do want us to chat again, but I will contact you. I do want us to chat again. There are just some things that I want to get to. But right now, I'm going to ask you a final word to everybody watching and everybody who will be watching later on, because we unpacked so much, and I do need to go back and watch this again and just take down, because there were, as you were talking, there are some things that were like, okay, you do that, yeah, let's go back and talk about that. So I hope
Yeah.
it was the
Yeah.
same with everybody, because the whole reason I do this is, one, to get over my fears, and two, basically to share information, to share knowledge. We have so much around us, and yet,
Yeah.
we are stuck in a cycle of
Yeah.
never ending worry and stress. And so
Yeah.
the floor is open to you for a final word to everybody.
My final word would be, we are talking about identity. My final word would be, you were created to be different. Um, your difference with everybody else around you doesn't only lie in your name and your surname. It doesn't only, the difference is internal. And it is that difference that the world needs. And oftentimes we look down upon things that we are really good at, that people around us compliment us about. And usually those things are the things that make us really different from other people. And I would just say, be encouraged in embracing what makes you different. Because when you build that and when you walk in that difference, you're being a solution to somebody else. You're being a solution to a community. You're being a solution to the world. So embrace that thing that makes you different, grow in it. The difference in you is the solution in you. So don't press it down. Don't deny it. Don't run away from it. Don't dilute it. It is powerful. It is strong. But continuously ask God to give you the grace and the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding and the peace to execute what you need to execute with the difference that you have.
Execute what you need to execute with the difference that you have. Wow. Okay. And then she drops the mic, everybody. Zodwa, I really want to thank you so much for this time, and thank your husband for us. I am eternally grateful and indebted to both of you. And have yourself a wonderful evening, and we love you.
Thank you so much. Kiss that beautiful baby for me.
I will go notice it. Oh, okay. No, I will. Good night, my honey. Thank you.
Good night. Bye. Thanks.
Okay, and there we have it, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for pulling through. Thank you so much for sticking around. I need to go and just decode what has been downloaded in tonight's conversation. Thank you so much, Zodwa, and we will share this and put it up on our YouTube channel so that you can find all the conversations, because sometimes things get lost on a page. And this one was not on our usual page. So catch us next week, Thursday at 6 in the evening, where we are still continuing with the theme of identity, and we will be talking to somebody very special. Very special. Keep your eye out the rest of the week. I will be posting up who our next guest is, and just go over this for this week. Go over it. Take down your notes. Put down things that you need to implement in your life, because as we said tonight, as Uzoto said and made it abundantly clear and reminding us that without action, it's not enough that we listen to these talks, we listen to every podcast, we read every book, but we have no action. So yeah, have yourself a wonderful evening. I will see you all next week, Thursday at 6 o'clock on the Lighthouse Conversation page. I gotta go. All right. Good night.